Hello, everyone.
Hi.
How are you guys today?
Good. How are you?
Good. I was just telling Carly I have been in Starbucks for the last 5 hours, and I just get so cold in that air conditioning. So I've come out here to defrost and have a little bit prettier of a background, even though it's like a mattress store behind me. It's better than inside. So
We can't tell. It looks good back there.
Larry, that's good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, where are you guys working from today?
Where are you working from, Carly?
Oh no, I think we're missing your sound, Carly. It'll just be a mystery.
There it is. Hi. But no, I'm in Dover, as per usual. But I'm at my house. I was gonna venture out today, but I just didn't quite make it that far. So I'm working from the dining room today.
A little bit
about
of
you guys?
craziness in the mortgage industry this morning.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
Yep. Keeping me busy.
How about you, Janelle?
I'm working from my car in front of Premier Hair Salon. My daughter, who's going off to college on Bella, insisted that she become super blonde before move-in day. So that was built into the schedule today. And so I got to blow out real quick while we were here.
Yay. Looks great.
So truly a work from anywhere type of scenario. I have not had coffee today. Have you guys?
Yes. I'm on my second today, but this is decaf. So cold brew this morning, decaf Americano this afternoon, and it's okay. I'm not a big, I do love Starbucks. We'll come around to that again, but their decaf is not my fave. So
That's fair.
I'm glad they have that option, though.
yeah, it is good. It's a good, mental fix, I guess.
Yeah.
I am coffeeless right now, but I did have one earlier, and I bought the new Chobani pumpkin spice creamer. It is phenomenal. A must try.
So you're on the pumpkin train early this year.
Oh, I'm on it as soon as it arrives.
That's great.
Yeah.
I did have a pumpkin spice or two also myself. Not today, but in the past week.
It's coming up really soon for Starbucks. I think it's the 31st, and that they're releasing their pumpkin drinks. So that's exciting.
That's my birthday, so I'm going to get a free pumpkin coffee.
On that note, should we talk about what we're giving away today? Well, next time, I guess, you can enter the giveaway today.
Yeah.
All right. So we are giving away a Starbucks gift card this week. So what you can do to enter our giveaway is you can like this post, share this post, and comment your coffee order. We would love to hear that's one of my favorite things to learn about people. What's your coffee order?
That's a good one.
Yeah, I feel like it tells us about them a little bit.
I think that was one of the first questions you asked me. It might have been in my interview, but it also might have been just when I first started. But I remember you asking me what my coffee order was.
Too personal.
I think I'm gonna make that post next, later today. I'm gonna be like, "What's your coffee order?" Yes. Now I want to know, everyone.
I'm sure we could get some good ideas. It's fun to try new things. Hi, Kelly. Yeah. Thanks for watching today.
Hey, Kelly. So, what's our topic today?
We're going to talk about my home buying journey. I'm a first-time home buyer and in a totally new state. So, this has been quite an experience so far.
So, walk us through it.
Yeah.
Do you want prompting or do you want to just go for it?
You can prompt me because I'm a rambler and I don't want to ramble the heck out of this. So,
well, I think this is a good way to start because I want to go with I want to talk about how everyone feels probably when they're buying their first home and that very first feeling. So, here's what people say to me when I talk to them. When someone has referred them to me because they expressed interest to somebody that they want to buy a home. So what they say is, I'm thinking about buying a home and I have no idea what I'm doing and I don't know where to start. So that's a very common statement that I've heard in people's home buying. So tell us how are you and Sam feeling? Like,
Yeah. When we got down here, our feelings about it were pretty. I think Sam was kind of like delightfully unaware and like blissful about like what's involved in finding a home. Maybe because he just had never really thought too hard about it. And I am maybe a little too aware of like the trials that come up in finding a home, only because that's what we work with every day. And so for me, I was more nervous than he was. He felt as though the right thing will come up at the right time and we'll just jump on it and get it. So he's been pretty calm and collected the whole time. I've been the anxious one. Maybe.
okay. So I asked some young people that I know.
Yes.
I was like, we're talking with Grace about her home buyer journey. Like, what should we ask her? And here's a couple questions. One person said, I don't even know what to ask. Like, so that's how people feel. Like, they don't even know what to ask. So walk us through that. Like, what do you think the first couple things are to ask?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, hi, Melissa. Good to
Hi,
see you.
Melissa.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining.
Let us know your coffee order.
What's your coffee order?
Now, for us, I think it was really helpful to first just think about it in the context of what can we afford, because I think that's the best place to start. It's really easy to kind of just start online shopping for homes and then get attached to maybe your ideal home. And so without knowing that that's something that you could actually afford. So our first, I would say this would have been my first step, but they ended up happening in the same week, just depending on who I could get phone calls with. But my first step was that I did talk to a realtor, but I had an appointment with a mortgage broker the following day. So I was trying to set up first someone to talk to about financing, figure out what we could afford, and then to talk to an agent, real estate agent, who could tell us if what we had in mind was realistic for the area that we moved to. Because I think especially when you make a big move like this, coming from the tri-state area, it's just a totally different market. And then the homes that maybe we could afford up north wouldn't get us the same thing we envisioned down here. So finding out, from people who our realtor, for instance, has been working in this area for 20 years and could kind of give us an idea of if what we had in mind was realistic or not, and where to look for what we had in mind. So those were the first two steps that I made, but I head knowledge wise, I would recommend always talking to a mortgage person first about financing. And we've got some coffee orders here. Kelly Anderson said iced coffee with an espresso shot, light cream, no sugar. That sounds great. And then Melissa Rhodes says tall, flat white. Those are tasty. I think we may have lost Janelle here for a second. That's okay.
I'm sure she'll
be back.
come back. Yeah.
Yeah. So after we spoke with I connected really quickly with the real estate agent that we were referred to by a close friend, which was great because I didn't know that we would hit it off so well. Like I texted you, Carly, that night, I think, just to tell you like, oh, she's amazing. We got along so well, because it was like a good personality fit, but also she seemed super knowledgeable and she talked with me for over an hour, which I thought was nice. Like so generous of her. So that was great. And then the next day I got on the phone with a mortgage loan officer who I had actually known just through the industry, and she connected with me when we moved to Florida. And so she was one of our first phone calls. And again, we just kind of talked about like, is this realistic, what we have in mind? And then she walked me through that specific mortgage company's application process, which was an online application. You could authorize a credit pull online. And Janelle's back, I think. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Hey.
I am 0 for 2. We're doing this from the car. My phone overheats in that phone holder in the window.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm back. Hi.
Hey, I was just talking about after my great first conversation with the real estate agent and then my conversation with the mortgage loan officer first. So I was just saying she kind of walked us through the application process. We turned in all of our documents to her. So like any income related documents like pay stubs and W-2s, our IDs, our bank statements, those were the big ones. And then she was able to start that process for us. I don't know if we cut you, or well, when you came off the video, I don't know if you were in the middle of saying something or not.
Well, I'm just going to assume I kind of know what you talked about, but I guess the one thing that I could say to encourage people is if you think you want to buy a home at any point in your future, like let's say that you're getting ready to finish up college and that's like a dream that's close by for you because you're going to come out of college with a good salary or something like that, or if you're newly married or newly coupled and you would rather buy than pay rent, I think the first step is really just reach out. And it's kind of very difficult for you to know the whole process ahead of time. You could do a lot of reading and there's guides and everything, but we will walk you step by step through the process, and you'll feel like as you move through it that you're just naturally getting to that next step. So I think just reaching out and making that first contact, no matter how far away your goal is always a fine step as far as we're concerned. We'll help you at any stage.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to like find someone who entertains your questions, you know, who kind of gives the messaging that like no question is dumb, you know, no anything goes, you know, because it's so important to feel comfortable in your home buying process and working with people that you trust and feel like they entertain your time. And yeah, so I feel like we found those types of people, and that's a company that we try to be as well. Just people who are open to questions and kind of like recognizing that this may be your first time through the home buying process, and that's important to us. Not assuming you know everything. Yeah.
I have another question from the audience, and here it is. How did you save for down payment while also paying for rent? Do you have any suggestions? I thought that was a good one.
It's a great question. Yeah, we have been paying for rent ever since we got married in 2020. And we always, for the most of that time, we always had a kind of a percentage saving goal. So every paycheck that we got, we were putting in the same percentage to our savings, just to keep that steadily building. And we would adjust with different life seasons, but that was always, we were always putting something away. My husband's been really good at saving just over his life. And so that was really helpful when it came to a down payment. And then the last few months, we've been living with my husband's family, which has saved a lot of money on rent while we've been down here. So we can kind of continue putting a larger amount toward that as we get closer to moving in.
Bella asked if you were stressed.
Yeah, I am stressed. I think that the stressful part, I'll be totally honest, we haven't, so we are under contract on a new construction townhome, which is the really exciting thing. But it won't be ready at the earliest until February. And so my nerves are more surrounding interest rates, only because so much could happen. So much happens in a week with interest rates. And then if you put that into the context of 6 months, it's really hard to know. You know, even seeing mortgage rates every day, I still feel nervous about when do I lock? You know, do I wait until 2 months out? Do I consider a long-term lock, which builders offer? So that's what I'm stressed about. The other stuff I kind of feel more okay about and more lax, but that's my big one.
Did the builder give you some options for it? Like, how long will a builder allow you to lock your interest rate out?
Yeah, so they, for a normal rate, they there's long term and then shorter term. For shorter term, they look at 60 days or less, and you could lock in there at normal rates, or you can take a higher rate but lock out as far as now.
Yep.
They just, obviously that would kind of cost more over time. And then you'd have to kind of just weigh it. If you think, for instance, my brother was telling me that they built a house back in, I think, 2020 or 2021, and their house was under construction for 5 months. And so they did a long-term lock for 5 months, but when all was said and done, they had a 3.125 rate, and then rates had gone up to the sixes or something like that. So, depending on the market and then what you have a budget for, those can be helpful, I'm sure. But we haven't made a decision one way or the other yet.
So I can chime in here on interest rates just for the general audience. We can help talk you through the interest rate locking period, what we know is going on now, what economists are projecting, and at least give you solid information. It's not a guarantee, but we can definitely provide you with information as to what's happening from a day-to-day basis. And we do pay attention to rates and get reports on rates and listen to an update on rates every day. So if we all knew what rates were going to do, we would be extremely wealthy and live on a private island. So that's the one thing about it, is we can make our best projections, but they are not always 100% guaranteed. So that does make it tough. But the good thing is that if you get the house and rates do come, like you locked in at a higher rate and then you notice rates come down, you could continue to watch them to see if they're going to fall even further and try to capture them on their downswing. Yeah. So refinancing is customary especially if you plan to live in your house for a long time. So that's something that we could talk about and watch for you too, as a general piece of information.
Definitely. Yeah, and some lenders too will allow you to float down at one point if you lock kind of far out and then rates have changed a certain amount, before you close. That can be an option too, which I have spoken with our builder's lender about. So keeping that in mind as well.
Carly, do you have any specific questions for Grace on her home buying journey? Anything you think that we should bring up?
She pretty much answered all the questions that I have, but I've also spoken to her about it quite a few times. So
I want to, go ahead. No, I want to hear what you have to say first.
I was just going to say, are you excited about the fact that it is a new build, so you get to customize it a bit, and it's kind of more worth the wait at that point than buying a house that you have to go in and invest a bunch of money to?
Yeah, I think as I've learned about Florida specifically, whenever a house is sold, the roof is always called into question because roofs don't last long around here. There are a lot of specifics as well about plumbing systems that might have to be replaced. And so with that, I'm relieved that, it's totally new. The timer begins on our roof, when we move in. And even in the specific, HOA that we'll be living in, the roof, if it ever has to be replaced, is the responsibility of the HOA. It's not necessarily on us to pay for that. So there's a lot of benefits about that. So I am really excited. At first, I was like, I'll take any house. I just want to move in, really quickly. But now I'm realizing I think I will prefer this in the long run, and it might be worth the wait. I think it will be worth the wait.
You may have talked about this.
Oh,
go ahead.
I was just going to say February really isn't too far, so it'll be good.
I need to remember that. I don't feel like that every day, but it is true in the grand scheme of things.
Almost September already.
Yeah, it's true.
So how did you decide where to buy?
Yeah, we looked specifically into how far of a commute for my husband, Sam. He works in Naples, and so it would be great if we could have. Naples itself is really large, and so we wanted to stay within the city, within the city of Naples, and we kind of just wanted to be within 30 minutes of his job. And if you go outside of 30 minutes, you're in a different town. So that was really important to us. And then we also, over time, as we were thinking about just the next couple years and starting a family eventually, we did want to be near family, and they're in Naples as well. So the development that we landed in is one neighborhood over from my husband's family and 30 minutes from Sam's job. So it ended up being just like a perfect, storm.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, in a good way. Perfect storm's not a positive term, but it was good. Yeah, and it was just really, if I could share really quickly, like just we weren't considering townhomes at first, and we weren't considering new construction. And so one of our family members was actually purchasing a home in that development, a townhome in that development that is being built. And so we kept being, suggested to look back into it, see if it's something that might be an option. And at that point, it had already been a few months since my family member had gone under contract. And so I expected there would be no townhomes left, and that they'd be all, if there were any, they'd be much, much more expensive. And so one day I just called at my husband's suggestion, and I just asked, do you have any more of these townhomes? And he said, oh, who's your family member that you mentioned? The sales rep said this. And I said, oh, I said her name. And he was like, I actually have one more available. It's in that row of townhomes, and I'll give it to you for the same price that I gave it to them, which was only like $4,000 more than our initial pre-approval amount. So it was really right at our price range. And then we find out it's 2 doors down from the family member. And so it just was so crazy. It all happened so quickly after kind of a discouraging period of not finding things that were going to work for us. So we're just so thankful for like how all of that came up. And it just seemed like a very meant to be kind of situation. And my realtor, when she was walking through the model home with us, she said, I usually take my clients to several homes before I encourage them to make an offer on anything. She said, but this is like too good to be true. You need to move forward with this one. So that was just like such a blessing. And it's really exciting. So when I think about how it all came together, I'm like, it's worth the wait. This is the right thing.
Home buying is like that. We like in the course of my 24-year career, it's been countless times where it has been like a meant to be type of situation where you look back and you're like, everything fell into place the way it was supposed to. So that we hear that over and over again. So I feel like that's the way home buying works. One more thing I want to bring up is if you are fearful to get started with the home buying process because you're fearful that you might not qualify, I would say don't have that fear, especially with our team, because we have a special process where if for some reason you don't qualify when you start or when we first have a conversation, we do have a mortgage ready program where we will tell you the next 2 or 3 steps to get in line before we move forward to the next couple steps, so that eventually we'll hopefully walk you to the point where you are able to qualify to buy. So we never want to tell people no. We always want to give them solutions, and that's the way that we work.
Absolutely.
So without further ado, is there anything else that you feel like we should share about your home buying experience?
I also want to chime in that our initial lender, we ended up switching lenders only because with the builder's lender, they gave us 2% toward closing costs. And so our first lender was super understanding about that. But our first lender was awesome. And what she did with our pre-approval, she also had an underwriter look at it. And so she was able then to issue us a conditional approval with our pre-approval. Which is always just great to have, because you can have the security that an underwriter already looked at your file and said you're good to go. So if that's ever something that, when that seems like an applicable thing for us to look into, we also can offer that. So that was helpful in that situation.
People may be wondering why you're not going through our own mortgage company to do your loan. So I'll share a little bit. We are licensed in Delaware, Maryland, and Pennsylvania, and we do have some partnerships with other sources. So we knew we had a relationship with the first mortgage broker that Grace talked with, and since we are not technically licensed there, we felt it was better that she talked to her. And then it just so happened that she didn't, the way the process went, it made better sense to go with the builder's lender anyway. But that's the reason why.
Yeah.
Because people would probably be like, well, why aren't you going through your own mortgage company?
I would if I could. So. Yeah. Great.
And if she could, she would.
Yes, absolutely. We have
So
one more
should-
coffee order real quick before we go
Ooh.
back over this. Britt likes an iced white mocha, which I think sounds great.
It does
We like
sound,
that
sounds
too.
amazing.
Let's see here.
Oh,
Should we?
I don't know the answer to this, but I always have to put a piece of trivia in.
Yeah.
I meant to look this up before we started, but what do you think the average age of a first-time home buyer is?
Ooh. I think
24
30.
to 30.
Yeah.
30? Is that
Yeah.
what you said too, Grace?
Somewhere between 24 and 30.
Okay. I don't know the answer, but I believe it's a little higher. I think it's more closer to the mid-30s from
Okay.
data I've looked at before. But we'll
should
share that
this.
later.
Yeah. We should make a poll.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think we should draw a winner for
Yes.
last week's giveaway. Let's get our
should.
little fun. Oh, here we go. Okay. So I have a wheel. Let me know if you do not see it. Let's see here. Now the pool is not that big this time, so you got a pretty high chance of winning. Let's see.
Oh my gosh.
Can you guys see the wheel?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Oh man, I love these prints.
I know. I wanted to put myself in the
I'm excited about this.
Oh, who's it gonna be? Is it Jackie?
Yeah.
Woo!
Jackie.
Yes, Jackie.
Yay.
That's great.
Yay. I'm
I can't wait to hear.
excited.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear what state she picks.
I know. Connecticut or Maryland?
Right.
What's it gonna be?
So next time we're giving away a Starbucks gift card because I love Starbucks. And so please like this post, share this post, and comment your coffee order. And we'll put you in the running for next time.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.